Merhabat, and welcome back to the Ottoman campaign in Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. It is peacetime. We're actually finally running a surplus monthly balance, thanks to the shipyard expansion being done, and there are no ships currently being built or refit, but I have set them all on limited and low crew. Some ships have been recently refit since the last time. That would be the Is No Good class battleships and these ones, armored cruisers. They now have Harvey armor, better engines, and improved twin guns. So they should be a little bit more accurate. I'm not going to go through and refit each and every one of my ship classes, but we're now going to do refits of the TB-94s and TB-98 class torpedo boats. And the reason why we're doing these refits, simple enough. We now have twin launchers. So we're going to go through and replace all the single launchers with twins. There you go. Have them all facing the same way. Effectively doubling the amount of torpedoes we're launching. So that will be 12 torpedoes per salvo. Now reaching out to 3.1 kilometers. Now reaching out to 3.3 kilometers. Which is pretty good. Can I even stuff an anti-flood on this? Almost? Not far off. Upgrade the torpedo marks as well. Very close to, there we go. Yeah, I think that's a decent upgrade of the TB-94 torpedo boats. Should have a pretty easy time of demolishing enemy battleships now, and armored cruisers. Now let's do the same with the TB-98s. Alright. First off, better engines. That's going to save some weight. Not quite as many torpedoes per salvo as the 94s, but that's still a lot of fish in the water. 10. And we're going to make the 17-inch as well. Not quite enough to up the bulkheads. But almost? Almost. That did not save any weight. I need to shave off 2 tons here. There we go. We don't need stability anyway. We're not going to be using the gun. Like so. Now let's apply the refits. Like so. Still doesn't cost me that much, actually. So we're still running a surplus. Means I think it's, let's see, what are we getting here? A torpedo contact exploder. I think we should put the new Destroyer 1 hull to use. And here it is. Destroyer 1. Let's up that first. How big can Destroyer 1 be? 850. And it's kind of short and stubby. Let's see if we can build something that can actually, ooh, 32 knots. That can actually deal with enemy torpedo boats. And actually be a destroyer. Not just a, torpedo delivery system. Just gonna put 2 of these funnels. Now we're gonna need guns, we're gonna need torpedoes. Yeah, no, we're way overweight. I don't think we can do the speed that it's supposedly rated at. At least not yet. Yeah, no, we're not building this. I'm pretty sure. Like maybe if we completely slim it down. Maybe. Maybe it can be done. But I would still like a more, yeah. Can't go that fast, really. 27 knots. That's 2 knots faster than my torpedo boats. Still not very fast. The 4-inch guns are Mark II. No, we're not really at a point where we can do anything about this yet. I think to build anything decent on the destroyer hull, we will just have to wait until we get the turbine engines. Yeah, no. See, the problem here is that this is not as good at delivering torpedoes as my torpedo boats. But that's fine, because it's supposed to be fighting torpedo boats. But it's not very good at that either. That's kind of the problem with it. Because we just don't have the displacement available to do anything about this. So, no destroyers just yet. Sadly. Now, if you remember the previous episode I was kind of teasing you with this hull. And I can now bump that all the way up to 10,500 tons. Max optimal speed, 21 knots. So what I'm thinking here is essentially a battlecruiser. Except classed as a heavy cruiser. Well, we do have some new towers now, too. Nice. That's a pretty big funnel. I think we're better off using more of the smaller funnels. Don't take up much space. There we go. 12,000 kilometer range. That is a ship that is capable of doing battlecruiser things. Kind of. I now have access to proper barbettes as well. And Mark II 11-inch guns. Six main guns. Let's go with that for now. And see what we can end up with. I can already tell we're gonna have to do some sacrifices to make this work. Where are we on flash fire chance? 21%. Typically I would go coincidence, but I know in dip, stereoscopic has been slightly rebalanced to make it more useful. I wanted to go 21 knots. We might have to settle for 20. And slightly less range. But that at least leaves me with some displacement left over for armor, although not much. Can do a 7-inch main belt, which isn't like super thick or anything, but you know, 37 caliber. Not super long, but at least we can reach out to 10.8 kilometers. What can we do with a 10-inch, which is quite a bit lighter? Let's give it the same armor. Let's see, AP damage 350, 469. At 10,000 meters, 10.1 inches of belt armor at 1% accuracy. 8.6 at 1%. It's a dilemma. This can deal with battleships. At least for now. This might struggle a bit. Hmm. 20 knots is still not slow. Not in 1900. That's basically what you see light cruisers sailing around at. We're going to be able to outsail armored cruisers and battleships at least for a couple more years. And when these are no longer fast enough to do that, they can just act as escorts for dreadnought battleships. Hmm. Slim it down a bit. It didn't make much of a difference. I don't want to make it too slim either. We are at almost battleship levels of resistance, so that's decent. Can reduce the ammunition, saving some more weight. I really wanted this to work, but yeah, as I said, I have to make a lot of sacrifices. But some of the things I sacrificed that can be added back in during a refit process. I think with semi-oil, that should save a lot of weight. Although that would take away some of the resistance. Because coal is actually pretty good for that. Crew quarters doesn't make a huge difference. I don't even have secondaries on it yet. Continuous sacrifices being made. So who's the most likely enemy at the moment? That would be Italy. I don't know exactly what kind of navy the Italians have, but they're kind of struggling because France has been beating up on them. So these might work as built like this against Italy. Yeah, we're getting closer. But as I said, a lot of sacrifices have to be made here. There. I would like to have secondary armaments on it as well, of course. Might have to go 4 instead of 5-inch. Just because they're lighter. There we go. And of course, refinements can be made, But that is, if I were to give it 21 knots. Yeah, let's stick to 20 for now. I think these could potentially have a long service life. So they could serve on to get turbine engines and stuff like that. I would be able to up the speed and also reduce the displacement needed for the engine. And then also up the armor. So there you have it. A Pseudo Battlecruiser. Now let's see how many of these I can build. I'm running at plus 22 million a month currently. So I can actually build 4. A whole squadron. Yes. Perfect. Where are we gonna put these then? All in Constantinople? Constantinople is kind of full. Do I have any like 50,000 ton port somewhere that is not being used? Yes, Kataro. There we go. Nice. Very nice. These can be very useful. Hopefully. Now, let's see what else we can build. Because I'm still running a surplus. Might be an idea to keep that running for a few months, just to build up my naval funds again. It's nice to have some money in the bank. Because I asked for Morocco instead of just getting money from Spain. And I was running a deficit for many, many months as I was building and refitting and expanding my shipyards. My coffers are kind of empty. Well, I decided to copy the latest refit of the TB-94s and build 8 more of those. Seeing as the destroyers were not really possible to build the way I wanted them. Alright. Let's go on to 1901. Oh, look at that. Relations with France. Do I want to pay 41 million and lose 2% naval budget? You get an alliance with France? I don't think so. I don't think so, France. Yeah. I do want to fight Italy, though. Although they don't have much of a navy left. But they are building 15 new ships. So we might see a quite modern Italian navy, actually. And Japan is finally building some ships. They've been at zero navy for quite a while now. Anyway, let's just keep going until the powder keg explodes. And it seems like the Portugal has been dissolved. Meanwhile, Germany and France are gobbling up land. France will... I'm not sure if they're gonna take Spain, like the Iberian Peninsula, but they're gonna take a bunch of the colonies. Russia has taken Brazil from them. Or from Portugal, I guess. Yeah, so that has happened. Where are we now? Minus 60 with Italy. Yeah, I think we can get something happening here. Just in time for these new cruisers, the Pseudo Battlecruisers, to be launched. And ready. What else are we getting? In 1 month, we're getting another armored cruiser hull. And we can size armored cruisers up to 12,500. We are also getting some extra accuracy. Mine detonators. I don't need to be prioritizing that. Maybe I should just keep this prioritized until I get TNT 1. Because that's just going to be such a nice thing to have. Because not only do your guns do more damage with it, your flash fire challenge goes down drastically with TNT compared to other explosives. That and tube powder. I think tube powder is quite a bit into the future yet. And I can command a larger task force. Minus 69 with Italy. Well, these are done in 2 months. And we are getting the dreadnoughts in roughly 5 years. I don't want to rush it though. If I wanted to go straight for dreadnoughts, I would have set the starting date to 1910. Even though I know it is the meta thing to do, getting dreadnoughts early, because that gives you such an advantage. That kind of ruins the whole point of starting in the pre-dreadnought era if you're just gonna skip the entire era. That's my opinion. Well, I think someone is prioritizing that tech tree branch. Let's see, where was it? I saw it pop up here. Japan, Dreadnought hull design. And Scandinavia, actually. Britain too? They're designing new battleships. Maybe they already have it, and I just missed it. Hard to tell. Let's see if they are... oh, they still have a bunch of battleships. If we see the British start scrapping all their battleships, we can be pretty sure they are building dreadnoughts. Or maybe not, because, you know, if they have their navy at sea, they're not going to be scrapping anything. So, these are done in 1 month. So I think next month we're gonna make use of those new armored cruiser hulls and design some even better ones, maybe, depending on if they're good or not. Political party that has won the majority in parliament wants to push through a bill to reduce the financing of the fleet. What is 10% naval budget? No. Minus 5% naval budget. No. Minus 50 relations with Spain. Sure. And I can get plus 50, plus 25 with Spain, and plus 1 GDP. Almost cancelling out the effect. So where are we with Spain? Minus 52. So does Spain want, do they want a rematch? Maybe they do. Maybe we can give it to them. But first, let's check out that new armored cruiser hull. I don't think we're going to get a war this episode, so it might as well just be a shipbuilding episode. And it seems I've got new battleship hulls as well. That are not really dreadnought hulls, but not far off. It's a very fat hull shape. I don't think it looks good, but that's how it is. That is basically a dreadnought hull, isn't it? Is this not just an American dreadnought? Terrible funnel capacity on everything, though. And like they're chunky funnels too. These fit like inside of there. Let's see if we can make this happen. I don't want to build on the ugly one, but we can maybe build like a flagship. Okay, I guess we're not making use of the space in the middle. Might as well go for the better funnels then. That might look better for no, size purposes. You know, they cannot be mounted further forwards. I guess it's just like that. Yeah, no, we're just going with 2 of these. And wasting the space in between. Can maybe put a secondary there or something. I think I'm pretty close to getting the 12-inch Mark II. Hang on, no. I can go big. If I can go big, I can go big. You know, it's not possible to put anything like down there. If I'm limited to only 4 main guns, might as well make them big. Yeah, I think we are building this battleship. Did I really need a new battleship now? Maybe not. Citadel 2. Like that for now. was 7%. 17-kilometer range. Now we're talking, like, let's see. Does it actually update when I do that? No, it doesn't. Yeah, still pretty decent armor penetration. Maybe it did update. Yeah, we can go through pretty much everything with these. That's nice. Even look at the HE pen. We can HE pen cruisers. Might just want to go standard ratio then. Flash fire tunnels is 64.3%. That is really bad. That is still really bad. Reload time is actually not that bad. I think I put some, what is it, 13.5s on the Is No Good class battleships. And they fire slower than the 17s. But yeah, okay. 8-inch Mark II. Yeah, they're kind of too big to fit anywhere. The 7s have a better form factor, but they don't really fit anywhere either. There's nowhere to put these tiny barbettes. Okay. Sixth inch? No. Fives? No. 4? No. 2-inch. We can put some 2-inch guns. 3-inch guns. On the tower there. But that's it for secondaries. Okay, so this ship is gonna need some support. Because there was just not possible to put any decent secondary guns anywhere. Oh, no, I'm lying. We can put 4-inch guns here. That's not great, though. That's not an impressive secondary battery. But, I mean, when you got 17-inch main guns, maybe you don't need a lot of secondary battery. Let's make this chunky. You only have one inner belt, so it doesn't really make a difference. Of course, there we go, overweight. But not by that much. Not by that much, really. If I make these 4.9s, they get slightly more useful. Let's remove the 5-inch casemates and replace them with 4.9s. Just so it's a little bit uniform. There we go. Not that much overweight. And I can actually reduce the range. Again, my typical sacrificial lamb. And we have a battleship that is not a dreadnought, but it can conceivably hang with the dreadnoughts when the time comes. And in the meantime, it can be a flagship of sorts. Bayezid the First. A little bit disappointed that I wasn't able to put any like decent secondary turrets on it. I think a bunch of 7-inch turrets like along here, if I could squeeze them in, that would look pretty neat. But there we go. A Super Pre-Dreadnought. Let's take a look at that armored cruiser hull. See what we can do. It's kind of similar to this one that we built, the Bayezid the Second Pseudo Battlecruisers on. Pseudo Battlecruiser, Pseudo Super Dreadnought. But it's got this raced forecastle. Foxel, excuse me. And at 12,500, it's like minimum size. How big can we make this? Quite big. So this is more like a an armored cruiser of the future kind of ship. Let's see what we can do with it. Like kind of the same thing, I guess, as the other ones. That doesn't fit like it did on the other one. But no, not side guns, excuse me. But we can still, I mean, not now, because the hull limit. Oh yeah, we can't have more than 2 superimposed main guns. More than 1 superimposed, excuse me. So, ABXY, not possible. If I make things more compact, then maybe. I have a better idea. There are these, like, built-in thingies. Put the front tower back up here. Side guns there. Now move everything back up again. Might even squeeze in a another funnel, just for good measure. We like our funnels. And there we go. That is Some kind of ship. Is 11 too much? Maybe. But I just like the look of the 11-inch turret Mark II more than the 9 and 10-inch. And these can fit there, and we can even add some 4-inch turrets there. So that is a possibility for the future. How we're gonna make it less than 15,500 tons when you account for armor and all the other systems, I don't know, but that is a possibility. Now let's see if we've got any other things. Semi-armored cruiser 4. Ah. Ooh, this can be speedy. Is this the pseudo battlecruiser I was after the whole time? What's the difference? 23, 24? Yeah, no, we're going 23. The towers are kind of bad. Not that bad, actually. Can put a couple of you back here. And then a smaller one up there. Yeah, that still fits. And with induced and... yeah, there we go. That's better. Oh, that doesn't fit there. It's too bad, because I like the flash protection. Maybe. No. Nah. Too narrow. Yeah, no. Let's once again go with the 11s. The form factor is pretty neat. And I think we are going with this one here. Just pseudo dreadnoughting it up. There we go. Is this a good idea? I don't know. We're gonna have to see what the final price tag ends up being at. Looking like 100 million, which is battleship territory. However, yeah, 111 for the Is No Good class battleship. But this one arguably has more firepower. Smaller guns, 11-inch versus 13.5s. But a lot more of them. No secondaries to speak of, though, but this is, again, essentially a small dreadnought battleship. How are we going to put any armor on it? That's a good question. I'm gonna have to reduce things. I have to reduce the ammunition loadout. Flash fire chance is not too bad, actually. Now, how heavy is this going to be when I add armor to the turrets? Probably very is the realistic answer. Yes, because there are a lot of turrets. Getting a lot of thick armor on it. Or 9 inches is not that thick. But is it safe from its own guns? Not really. Not at all. Is it safe from the typically Mark 1 9 or 10-inch guns fielded by other armored cruisers? Probably yes. At least at the ranges at which it can punch back at. And it can stay at those ranges with its blisteringly fast top speed of 23 knots. What else can we reduce? Bulkheads. We can reduce that. I don't think I'm going to build too many of these. Because building that Super Pre-Dreadnought is going to eat up a lot of my budget. Actually, these are not that much cheaper than the Super Pre-Dreadnought, are they? Not even half the price of that huge 17-inch armed chonker. Tell me I have to make it slower. That didn't make too much of a difference. We're keeping the 23 knot top speed. I'm keeping the no, inner belt. Go away. You're not needed. Or wanted. Because well, the way it works, if you didn't know, it doesn't stack with the main belt. And because it can only be half the thickness of the main belt, while it is effectively provides twice the actual thickness. So this is equal to 7 inches. But the main belt is already 7 inches. So if a shell can go through the main belt, it can go through this. It doesn't give you anything in addition. With the second inner belt you get with Citadel 3, you kind of get something else because it can be more than half the first inner belt in thickness. You can get some additional protection, but not that much. And the third inner belt, of course, providing 10 times its actual thickness in protection. That's the one you want to max out. But we are far, far away from getting Citadel 5 unlocked. Now, what else can we do here? What else can be sacrificed on the altar of making this somewhat min-maxed, not a battleship? More bulkheads? Doesn't even make that much of a difference. I don't want to make it slimmer because it's already, the turrets are already kind of hanging off the side. Not enough of a difference. Also, we're not going max HE, that's dumb. I have to go light shells as well. No. Not enough of a difference. Not really enough of a difference. Electrical is heavier, right? Yeah. We're sticking with the, haven't even added enhanced reloading. We are really leaning into the Fisher, design here. We're gonna call it a large light cruiser. Didn't work. There we go. Tiny last little bit that needed to be fixed. There we have it. Another pseudo battlecruiser slash dreadnought thing. I don't like it quite as much as I like the Bayezid II. Although it has considerably more firepower, and it is faster. Let's see, can we do more light cruisers as well, once we are in the shipyard? We currently only have 2 light cruiser hulls available. This one, which is very fragile, but you can make it fast at least. And this one, which we've built a couple ships on already. Oof, that is ugly. We've built on that already. And this one, I guess. How about... Let's see, just... What can be done with this hull? Another big cage mast, at least. And that secondary tower there. Let's see, is it possible... I'm kind of just spitballing here. No, you can't really barbette it. You can do this, though. As ugly as that is, you now have effectively a dreadnought. I'll put that there. See, no. None of these are available. I guess the 13s are also going to be Mark IIs in the not too distant future. Because they're at the start of that tech tree. You go side guns. Let's put that up there. Not sure where I'm gonna fit the funnels. Put that there. Can I put the bigger one? No. Put that there. We can do this. No. You cannot do that. Because I was suddenly thinking, like, an echelon. Main turrets. Like so. I mean, technically... it can't even fit the 7-inch casemates. Can put a lot of 6-inch guns on it, though. Okay, I think we're not turning this into a pseudo dreadnought. I think we're just making a fat pre-dreadnought battleship with a lot of secondaries. I fit one more of those. Yes. Yeah, no, we're making a fat pre-dreadnought. There we go, max it out. 18 knots. It's kind of what I'm making the battle line speed. There we go. Very good range. Even drop down to minimum. Now then. Here comes the advanced barbatitis. Put that there. It's not being very cooperative. There we go. And there we have our 7-inch guns. I mean, it's not too bad. You can kind of work with this. Let's see where we end up. It's Citadel 2. The flashfire chance should not be too bad. Well, it is pretty bad though, still. Stereoscopic. Let's try that. Can I put like very decent armor on this? I think I can. Maybe not this decent. I want to have this after it pushed up to that bulkhead. You could also push the entire superstructure further back, but that's a lot of stuff I would have to move just to fix a 0.6% offset. So, not really too keen on that. The 7-inch guns will, of course, require some armor as well. And the 6-inch casemates. There we go, overweight. Ooh, they cannot be oversized. Evidently. The main guns can, though. Reload time, pretty long. So, that means they shouldn't run out of ammo too quickly, I think. Such a fat ship. There we go, close enough. Is it safe from its own guns? Not really. But it's safe from a lot of guns. And it's not too expensive. 118 million? Compare that to... where is it? The Is No Good. It's about the same price. But probably a little bit better. Maybe. Actually, slightly less stability. Same resistance. We can save it. So there we go. Some slightly experimental designs. Especially this one. Not sure if I want to build it. But maybe. Plus 11 million monthly. Because these are being commissioned. That means... we can start building something. But is it the first? I do want to build you. You're gonna be the flagship in Constantinople. At least until the dreadnoughts start rolling around. And then, in time, I'm gonna build some of these Murads. Murad the First. To replace the old Suleiman and Turgut Reis class battleships. Because I don't think there's that much I can do to those ships to make them viable much longer. That's why they've been moved to a secondary port here. In Constantinople, I got Is No Good and Vadalov. And also the German battleship that I did get to refit. Because I got the funnels for it and stuff. And I was able to push it up to 18 knots. So 18 is the battleship line speed of the primary battleship squadron. But some of those ships will probably be replaced by newer ones. Like the German one. That's probably going to be relegated to second line duty very soon. So I will be clicking through some more months, getting more of my ships built, and getting a war started with someone. Maybe Spain, maybe Italy. Maybe, hopefully not Japan. They're so far away. They're so far away. I don't want to go all the way over here and fight for land that I have no interest in yet. So no, probably Spain or Italy. Goodbye. and take care.